paranormal?
Yeah. I mean, I think I do. I mean, just because, like, as I was saying, like, to the woman earlier, like, I just find like it makes life more entertaining to like believe in that stuff. I mean, I believe in alien life forms. I think I believe in. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I believe in paranormal activity. I mean, I've experienced a little bit of it in the past. I mean, I think, yeah, like I said, it just makes life more entertaining to believe in that stuff. I want to believe in it.
Horror films tend to over-index with Latino audiences, and we all are big believers in paranormal activity and after death and all that stuff. So I wonder if it's related in some way where it kind of feeds the need to know more about that. It's interesting, because like you think about it, and we all love all that stuff, and we are very much touched with that side, and we like to see this kind of films. By the way, I love the film, love.
Thank you. Yeah, awesome. That's very cool.
How was shooting with the cast, and how was shooting in that very, very eerie house?
I was in Gulfport, Mississippi. It was actually, yeah, I mean, it was the house was pretty stripped down. And our production designer, Craig, who was kind of a boss, I mean, he was like almost like a one-man army. I mean, he like just decorated that thing from the ground up. We were like painting walls, putting wallpaper up. We did a lot of stuff in there. And but yeah, no, it was great. I mean, we were trying, we were trying to, because the film originally, I mean, we were going to shoot in California, and it was just so unbelievably expensive to try to find like a house that like wasn't $2,000 a day to shoot in. And so it was like just absurdly expensive. And then we were thinking of like upstate New York, and then possibly New Jersey. And, then ultimately we ended Oklahoma, then ultimately we ended up on Mississippi. And that was like literally the first house that we ended up looking at. That was just like, it was kind of like, the only like daunting thing was that we had 2 weeks we had like 1 week to furnish it, because it was completely unfurnished. And so it was a very grueling 7 days of like getting it ready. But it was worth it. I mean, we got, just had set up everything, and we filmed there for about 2 weeks. Then we filmed about like 4 or 5 days in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, at the cultural center where like the acting class was and all that. Right. But I love that house. I was a big fan.
They did a great job on it. It looked really, really good.
Yeah.
Did you put yourself through a devil's workshop to write this script?
No, but I will say the script was written being fueled by, I was at a very sort of like, it was like it was like end of 2019 going into like early 2020. And it was a very, like my career was in a very strange time, like I had a movie that completely fell through that was kind of like devastating. And then I had other things that just weren't coming together. It was just a really like 2019 was really like really bad year for a lot of different reasons. And I kind of hit like a very low point professionally. And so I just kind of had to go back to my roots and write something. I was writing like very expensive scripts too. And I was just like, I just had to go back to my roots and just write something very, very simple and kind of pure and more kind of actor based, and, not get so obsessed with like kind of convoluted plotting and all these different things. Just kind of write something that's very like kind of character based and even a little tone based. And then this kind of was birthed out of that time in my life. And I don't think it would have been what it was if I hadn't kind of gone through a pretty I guess a horrific 12 months to get myself into that shape.
A little bit about the transformation of Radha, right, and her performance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, Radha came on like, she came on like less than a month before the movie ended up shooting, and she was. I remember the biggest thing that she was really concerned about, because there was a lot more dialogue in the script, and she was really concerned about memorizing all the dialogue, that she felt like she was not gonna be able to like do it justice, because there was just so much dialogue to memorize, and she had such little time. So I ended up like just completely going through the script and kind of with a machete and just kind of tightening up every single scene with dialogue and kind of getting it to its bare essentials, and ended up cutting out like 17 pages, just trimming, just tightening up dialogue. And so she was a lot more confident about that. And then also having her use her own accent. Made her a lot more comfortable that she didn't have to like slip into an American accent on top of memorizing this stuff. And but you know, there's some improv as well. Like her and I kind of rewrote certain moments together on the day, just having things spill out of her mouth a little bit better. And but yeah, I mean, Radha was like, I mean, she's kind of like she's very like free spirited. I mean, she's very kind of I don't know if she was kind of like methoding it a little bit or just staying in character, or maybe that's just how she is, but she was just very she was super like kind of in that world on and off camera. So she definitely committed to it. She was but she was just like, she's like a moment to moment actress though. I mean, she just kind of feeds off the moment.
She was phenomenal. She had more mood swings than anybody I've known. She can go from one thing to the other in 3 seconds flat. I loved her. Tell us how Tim anchored for most of the film.
And thankfully, I mean, Tim had a big advantage because he was attached to it longer than anybody else. He was on it. I think he came on October of 2021, and we ended up shooting in March of this year. So he was on it for a while, and him and I had a lot of conversations about it. And so he was, you know, when we were about to shoot, I mean, he was pretty much raring to go. I mean, he knew the character kind of inside and out. And you know, he was just like the biggest thing was like, you know, are you willing to kind of go all the way with it? Because the only way a film like this can work is like you just got to go all the way with it. You know, you just kind of like spill your emotions out of your guts and just kind of just let all hang out. And he certainly did. And he, you know, didn't really have problems with anything. Just kind of very respectful of what was on the page, and yeah, certainly had really smart ideas and just went for it.
How did you pull the creature feature at the end? It was like pulling one of Guillermo del Toro's crafts.
Yeah, I mean, this guy in Los Angeles, Sig Neutron, who was referred to me by one of our associate producers as a special effects designer we're reaching out to all these different people, trying to find like the people that were available to like design this creature. And Sig, whose portfolio wasn't really similar. It wasn't really similar at all to what he ended up doing. This was a very different thing for him, much more of a realistic. That's the thing. I just kept on. I guess like the key words I just kept on telling him were just like realistic and simple and frightening and nothing too like overly designed, like no horns coming out, like nothing too like over the top, or just something very kind of simple and you know, raw looking. And you know, we had plenty of conversations and you know, I was very proud of because I didn't really know. He was sending me all these like different references of like the work in progress of things, but I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like until Radha stepped out of her trailer in makeup. And then when she was like in the light, you know, when we lit her up, you know, then it was like, oh, okay. But like, it was really nerve wracking because I did not know what exactly it was going to look like until the night that we shot it.
Yeah, that was amazing. The last 15 minutes of the movie, I don't want to give anything away, but what happens. It's like, wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.